coming down onto the mat for our yoga session. And we're going to take it quite gently to have a full body stretch today. And as you can see from me, doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter what your hair's doing, there's no one here to judge. And we're going to just try and stay kind of around and on the mat today, not doing anything too wild, too crazy. So let's start off by taking the knees nice and wide, big toes touch, hips push that back towards your heels. Start to reach the arms forward, soften the forehead down towards the floor. And let's just start in this child's pose position. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, the elbows. And just start to connect to your breath here. So notice how you're breathing. Notice what you're bringing to the mat. And see if you can just start to let go of anything that's not going to serve you for the rest of this practice. So anything that's come before, anything you think is going to come after, just start to try and let it all go. See if you can relax into the chest, into the shoulders even more as we take 3 more breaths here. Excellent. As you inhale, let's start to walk the hands in towards the body, rolling up the spine, chin to chest until the head is the very last thing to come all the way up. Excellent. See if you can start to circle into your shoulders here. And back the other way. And if you find it uncomfortable to sit like this, you can always bring a pillow underneath the hips and on top of the heels. Because we're going to stay here for a little bit longer as we warm up the body. So I just show you this next move front on. So let's release the left hand down by the left hip as we reach the right arm up above the head and start to come over into a stretch. And then from here, bring that right hand to the back of the head. As you inhale, take the gaze up. And as you exhale, start to take the elbow down. Inhaling and exhaling. And we're just going to do that a few more times, moving with our breath. Warming up into the side of the body, getting used to opening and closing up through that chest. Couple more times. Fantastic. Next time you open up, reach the right arm all the way back up towards the ceiling and see if you can deepen that stretch. So take the left arm further away. Maybe you could bring the left forearm to the floor. Maybe that feels a bit much. Just try and keep that right hip super glued to the right heel. So you feel that lovely deep stretch, but keep the top shoulder relaxed. Maybe gazes up towards the lifted fingertips. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Lovely. Just notice how you're feeling through the body, through the shoulders, connecting back to the breath. Same thing to the other side. Right hand in line with the right hip, hand to the floor. Reach those left fingertips up and over. Maybe gazes up towards the lifted fingertips. Maybe the gaze is in neutral. We're going to bring the hand to the back of the head. Just feel that stretch down the left side of the body and then start to open the chest up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, take that elbow down towards the mat. And again, just moving with the breath, just like we did on the other side. Lovely. Warming up into that core, into the body. Couple more. Beautiful. On your next inhale, elbow lifts up. And then release the left arm and maybe start to reach the right arm further away from the body as you really deepen into that stretch. Keep that left hip super glued to the heel. Maybe you're lowering onto forearm, maybe you're not. Just feel that stretch, but keep the top shoulder relaxed. Excellent. 2 more breaths here. And as you inhale, come all the way back up again. Just take a moment. Notice how you're feeling here. Notice the sensations. Start to tune in with our body. Dial up our self-awareness. And let's start to topple forwards. Come into a tabletop position. Now, you might notice that your feet, your ankles, your legs are feeling a little bit weird after holding that child's pose position for so long. So you can circle through those ankles, maybe tap the feet out on the top of the mat, maybe tuck the toes, push the hips back towards the heels, stretch into the back of the toes here. Do whatever you need to. Maybe you want to extend the legs. Excellent. Find your way to stillness. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Let's take cat and cow pose. So as you inhale, belly drops, sit bones reach up, gaze goes up towards the top of the space that you're in. And as you exhale, start to arch through the spine, suck the belly button in, tuck the chin. Lovely. Inhaling, belly drops, sit bones reach up, gaze goes up. Exhaling, reverse. You can do that 3 more times. Try and make each one slower. Each round slower than the last. And we're aiming to have a continuous cycle of movement. So there's no stopping and starting. We're just flowing here. 1 more round. Excellent. Finding your way back to stillness. We're going to take those knees wide again, big toes touch as you push the hips back towards the heels. Reach the arms out in front of you, forehead to the mat. This time we're going to walk the hands all the way over towards the left-hand side, feeling that stretch down the right side of the body. Try and relax the shoulders here. Relax the upper arms and the elbows. Taking a couple more breaths on this side. And then inhale, start to walk the hands back around to center. And then all the way over to the right hand side. So just try and soften into the shoulders, elbows, forearms. Let the hips sink back towards the heels and really feel that length into the left side of the body. Couple more breaths. And then let's walk the hands all the way back round to center. Same as before, we're going to walk the hands in, take this slow, take this steady as you roll up the spine, chin tucked to chest, head is the very last thing to come up. Take the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulder blades together, start to let the fist come away from the body. Now, notice your chest is opening. Start to take the gaze up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, start to fold forwards. Now, if you've got a cushion to hand, you might want to aim your forehead down onto a cushion, or just let the forehead come all the way back down towards the floor as you lift your fist away from the body, squeezing into those shoulder blades, just starting to really work into and warm up those shoulder blades, warming up across that chest, breathing here. Notice every time you exhale, those shoulders might start to soften, release, relax. Try and have the forehead down to the mat, not the top of the head. Taking one more deep inhale. One more deep exhale. And then release the hands. Release the arms out in front of you. And start to walk the hands in towards the body again, rolling all the way up the spine. Head is the last thing to come up. Let's just warm up into those wrists and those hands. Reach the arms out in front of you. Spread the fingers nice and wide. And then we're going to just pulse through the hands. So we're pulsing from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend the fingertips back in towards the body. Push the heel of the hand away. Same thing on the other side. Let's do that again. Reach those arms out in front of you. Spread the fingers. Pulsing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Shake it out. Stretch it out. Maybe even interlace the fingers. Just do like a nice little wave. We're going to do that one more time. If you've spent a lot of time sitting, tapping, typing, doing stuff on your phone, we really neglect the use of those hands and stretching them out. So, final time. Reach the arms out. Spread the fingers wide. Pulsing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Rotate it out. Stretch it out. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about our feet and our ankles. Just do whatever you need to do to your wrists here. And then we're going to come all the way forwards. Find that tabletop position. Bring the knees underneath the hips. Tap out through the feet. Get the circulation all the way back to the tips of your toes, flexing and pointing through the ankles. Lovely. Now, little bit more work into those hands and wrists. We're just going to start to circle around, taking the shoulders around in one direction and then back the other way. Now from here, lift the hands up and start to point the fingers back in towards the body. So the wrists are pointing away from you, and that might feel like enough of a stretch. But if you want to, you could gently just start to circle around here, stretching out into those forearms, wrists, into the hands, and circling back the other way. And then let's take the fingers out to the side and do the same thing. Back the other way. And then the final one, we're going to take the backs of the hands to the mat. So this one can feel a little bit intense. You might want to take more weight into the legs and the knees as you bring the backs of the hands to the mat. So for me, I have to really bend into the elbows for this one. Can feel it into those wrists. I don't particularly want to move around much here because it feels quite tender. So I'm just going to hold it still. Breathing here. Excellent. Release those hands. Just bring the hips back towards the heels again. Just shake out through the hands. Anything you need to do here to them. Excellent. So let's come into our tabletop again. Now, let's start to work a little bit more into the hips. So we're going to circle around the hips in one direction. Getting some nice juiciness into the body, and then circle the hips back around the other way. And then let's make this a really nice big figure of 8. So you come forwards and then snake the hips backwards. And then go back the other way. Excellent. Coming back up to stillness of your tabletop, and we're just going to take a wiggle. So it's as if you've got a tail sprouting out from the end of your spine. We're just wiggling it left to right. So we just got some really nice juiciness through the body. Lovely. Now let's step the right foot out to the side in line with the right hip. And from here, we're just going to start to push the hips back and come up. So we're warming up into the inside of that right thigh. Pushing the hips back, coming forward. Until eventually we're going to push the hips all the way back towards our left heel. And you might want to just wiggle that right foot back so it's in line with the hips as you start to reach the fingertips forward, soften the forehead down towards the mat. Let me just see if I can adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. So just try and relax into this right leg. Taking a couple more breaths here. And then inhale. Come all the way back up. And bring that right knee back in line with the right hip. Keep pushing down through those hands, but think about pushing down through the very base of the fingers and the base of the thumb. And we're just going to lift that right knee and just start to circle into that right hip. And then back the other way. Lovely. Then keep that knee hovering. We're just going to squeeze the knee up towards the tricep and back. Not a massive movement, just to the tricep and back. 3 more times. Warming up into the waist. Warming up into the core. Let's do another. Lovely. Extend that right leg back out in line with the right hip. And now we're going to start to walk the hands all the way over towards the left-hand side, so you can start to feel a bit of a stretch into the right side of the body. And then I'll show you this from the front so you can see where we're going here. So we're all the way over towards the left-hand side. And then we're going to reach the right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Gaze follows the fingertips. Let me adjust that screen again. Lovely. So you're feeling a stretch down the right side of the body. And as you inhale, we're going to come all the way up and then release the right hand down the right leg as you lift the left fingertips up. Feeling that stretch down the left-hand side. Taking 3 more breaths here. Nice. As you inhale, come all the way back up. We're going to bring the hands all the way down to the mat again. Walk those hands around. So we're back in that tabletop position with the right leg out to the side. This time, lift that right leg up and sweep it all the way round to the other side of your left knee and foot. So you're starting to feel the stretch now down the right side of the body. You can take your gaze towards that right big toe. Breathing out here, keeping strong in that core. Excellent. Let's bend into the right knee and try and get the right knee to the floor behind the left knee. Hands back in towards the center and just start to push the hips back towards the heels. It doesn't matter if that front knee starts to lift up. You can stay up on the fingertips looking forwards, or you could start to exhale, soften the forehead down. Maybe the forehead comes to the knee, maybe it doesn't. We're getting a nice deep stretch into the outside of that left hip. Don't worry if the hips aren't coming down towards the mat or the floor. We're just finding this cow face pose variation. Taking 3 more breaths. Excellent. Inhaling, coming all the way forward. Release the right leg so you're back into your tabletop position. Notice any of those sensations that are going on in the legs, the hips. Notice if one side of the body feels different from the other side. And from here, we're going to keep the hips in line with the knees and just start to walk the hands forwards, softening the chest down towards the mat. Forehead comes down towards the mat. Release into those shoulders, those